Hi folks, I'm out here in eastern Seoul near Gu Station, and I'm here today at Ash Tree. And this video is going to be threefold. So first I want to talk about Cask Ale, and that'll be the video you're watching today. And then we'll do a little tour and an interview with the head brewer. And then last, I brought my Trappist kind of Belgian Abbey Ale. He's going to drink it and let me know what he thinks, so that'll be the last video. So let's go inside. I'm going to get a Cask Ale. I'll tell you what Cask Ale is and why you should come here and try it. 오, 예쁘다. Alright kids, so what is a Cask Ale? A Cask Ale is a traditional kind of British way of serving beer that it's not new. This is a very old style. So basically it's hand pulled with a pump. There's no CO2 forced through the lines to propel the beer from the keg or the cask to the glass that it's being poured in. So this is very much a labor of love, using pure arm power to get that beer out of the keg cask into your cup. Also, this is served kind of at like cellar temperature, so it's not going to have that like 3-4 degrees Celsius serving temperature that all the beers, 99% of bars are going to have all the beers at the same temperature, right? Unless you go to a very, very specific, like super high-end specialty beer bar, they're going to have a room with all the kegs and they're going to come out at the same temperature. So that means that your lagers are going to be, really cold, but also your porters and your stouts are going to be really cold too, which is not quite how you're supposed to present them, right? This beer is going to be kept kind of like a cellar temperature. So it's going to be, depending on how cold the cellar is, 8 degrees. It's going to be a little warmer than maybe you're used to. So some people like that, some people won't, but this is considered like the real ale. That's what the campaign in the UK is called. A kind of return to tradition of cellar keepers and managing your beer, keeping it on it. It's much more micromanaged than a cooler would be, right, or a fridge. So here at Ash Tree they have the IPA. It's called the Slipnir, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. So they're using hops from New Zealand, Australia, and America at 6.5%. Again, this is kind of not room temperature, but it's a little warmer than a lot of beers you're going to drink. So, oh, the big West Coast style, yeah. Oh, and the carbonation is like so much lower than like a forced carbonated beer that you're going to pump CO2 into, right? The big selling point of a cask beer is that it's as close to the fermentation tank as you can get. They fill a cask with beer straight out of the fermentation tank, they cap it. I mean, in this building they'll move it upstairs, obviously. It's made downstairs in the basement, you'll see that later. But it's basically what came out of the fermentation tank and then nothing else. It's kept in the basement, it's pumped up by hand, there's no extra CO2 added, forced carbonated, nor is there any propelling it through the line, right? So this is like, again, as close as you can get to the original beer. That said, it does let a lot of air in, so these casks are super small, they change them regularly, because once you start letting air in, because again, there's no CO2 to propel it, right? The air that comes in is through a little tiny hole in the top that's open. So when you're letting all that air in, you can't let your cask be exposed for more than 2 or 3 days, and then it kind of is going to taste like shit. Alright, Joe's taking us into the back, and we're going to explore the cask beer system.
This is a walk-in fridge, and we've got casks here. This is the connected one, IPA. Very simple. You tap this simply on the top of the cask and connect the hose through all the way through the pump and simply pull the pump. That's the system.
Right.
The special thing about this cask, it doesn't have carbon dioxide connected,
right,
to protect the beer from oxidation. And also we add the animal fining agent called isinglass, made from fish bladder.
Joe promised me I could smell this. Yeah. Fish bladder.
Yeah.
Oh Christ, is that it?
Smells so good.
Are you serious? You do like? Oh God, I don't know what to expect here.
Please.
Actually, yeah, like I don't like it, but when you say fish bladder, I think, oh Christ, yeah. All right, that actually is not,
Yeah.
kind of like sing-song-gui. a little way, yeah.
We put this isinglass liquid form into the cask first,
Right.
and then
And what does
fill
that
with,
do?
That stick to the residual yeast in the cask and brings them all down
Right.
to the bottom. Yeah. So we get really clean beer, clear.
And here we are. That tube comes to this machine here.
Right. Shall we pump?
Yeah, please. So this is super fresh. They change it all the time. The casks are small, depending on how much volume you have for customers, right? I imagine here it's maybe 10-liter cask. That's a guess. I'll ask Joe later. But again, if you don't love cask ale, I totally get it. But it is worth coming here and trying just to get that kind of like real British pub experience of something that's, again, super fresh, labor of love. I put a lot of respect and admiration into something that's harder to do, right? That's why I like the white stripes so much. But yeah, cheers. Come by and try one of these kind of hundreds of year old tradition of hand pumped CO2 free, other than the carbonation that comes from the fermentation, beer.